you're probably gonna have to sleep with the lights on. Hi everyone, it is April from Getting Hygge with It. Today is the last day of Hygge Halloween week. I hope that you've enjoyed it. The previous two videos I shared 6 thrillers set in autumn and 6 spooky books that have just been released. So I hope that you will go and watch those if you haven't yet. Today I'm going to share 6 of my very favorite horror books. The first book I want to share with you is The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. This book was so terrifying to me that I was in a hurry to finish it before my husband went away on a business trip. I was like frantic to finish it because the idea of being in our home alone and still reading this was too terrifying to me. This is a ghost story, and we follow a family in it's post-war. They have an enormous home. They had been a very wealthy family, but they're on hard times. It is post-war, and the upper class is kind of crumbling and the middle class is rising. And so we have all of these families in England who have these enormous homes and they can't maintain the homes. So this mansion essentially is starting to fall apart. And a doctor is sent there one day because one of the maids, I think one of the very few maids, is very ill and he has to go and help her out. And then he gets involved with the family and becomes like a family friend and confidant. And this family repeatedly has visits from a supernatural being. I loved this book. One thing that I adored about this book is that it is literary fiction. It's Sarah Waters. And so the whole time you're wondering, like, is there a ghost or isn't there a ghost? And you're so focused on the storyline between these family members and this doctor and the dynamics between them that you forget that there's a ghost. And then the ghost shows up and it's like, remember me? And you're so taken aback by these moments. I was terrified reading this book. It is a slow burn, so just a warning, this isn't going to be, jam-packed with twists and turns. It's not that kind of book. But if you're looking for a slow burn ghost story with amazing characters, The Little Stranger is amazing. The next book is my favorite horror book of all time. It's officially my favorite. This is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This follows Patricia, who belongs to a true crime book club in the 80s, 90s, around that time. And one day, as she's leaving book club, she is attacked by an elderly neighbor. And it is a very gruesome attack. He does not shy away from blood and guts. Prepare yourself to be grossed out if you read this. And what ends up happening is this elderly person, their nephew, comes to visit and gets involved with Patricia's life. He gets involved with the book club. He might be a vampire. And it is about this group of housewives dealing with this man. And it is fascinating. It is so much fun. It is also incredibly deep because there is a lot of talk about race in here at this time and how racism is so prevalent in society and it shows up all over the place in this book. I really appreciated that in this book. It's deep, it's terrifying, it's funny sometimes. I don't think you could ask for anything else from a horror book. Oh my goodness, it was fantastic. The next book is another ghost story. This is The Turn of the Screw. Everybody hates The Turn of the Screw except me, maybe. I don't know, but I feel like every time I talk about this, I get people in the comments going, "Oh, I didn't really like it." I'm like, what? How can you not like The Turn of the Screw? It is so good. This follows a governess who goes to take care of a little boy and a little girl. And while she's there, she starts seeing these two figures on the grounds, a man and a woman. Are they ghosts? They might be ghosts. She has to protect the children. How will she protect the children? I loved this book. I read this many moons ago. I was like maybe 20, and I was terrified reading The Turn of the Screw. Next is my previous favorite horror book of all time, which has now been replaced by the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, but it still holds a very special place in my heart, and that is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. Now, some people say that this is a thriller. I think this is totally a horror book. This is about a world in which there is something outside, and when you see that something, you lose your mind, you kill other people, you kill yourself for sure. And so people are living their lives blindfolded, boarded up in homes, and are terrified of going outside and essentially dying. And so we follow a woman back and forwards in time. In the present day, we follow her with two kids stuck in a home, and she decides enough is enough. We're all going to go blindfolded, get into the boat in the back of the house, and go down this river and try to find a safe haven. So we follow her then, and then we follow her when this phenomenon just starts happening, and she is pregnant, and she's trying to survive this weird phenomenon. I really enjoyed this book. It was a lot of fun. So that's Bird Box. Oh, P.S. The book is better. The Netflix movie, I didn't really like at all. And I found it to be quite different. Anyway, the book is almost always better. Next is another ghost story, The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. I recently reread this and it was such a joy. This is about a solicitor who has to go to this enormous house called Eel Marsh House to take care of this elderly woman's affairs after she dies. And everyone in the town is a little bit leery about him going. They don't like the idea of him spending a lot of time there because the house is haunted by a woman in black. But he goes, and he does find out that the house is haunted. It's so much fun. It is short, perfect to read during a rainstorm or a thunderstorm. Like, that is the ideal time to read this. And last but not least is another very brutal horror book called The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is another one that is so violent and disgusting. This follows a family that are staying at a cabin, and there's a little girl named Wen who's outside playing with, crickets and grasshoppers, and she's just doing her summer outside thing. And a man comes up the lane. And he seems friendly enough. He's chatting with her. And then he says, "What's about to happen isn't your fault." And he starts walking towards the house. And she freaks out. She goes in and tells her dads that there's some guy out there. And then they all look out, and there are a group of people walking up the lane. And they're wielding these really weird weapons that they've clearly constructed themselves. And they're saying, "We're not going to hurt you. We just need your help to save the world." And it's a home invasion story. It was gripping and disgusting. I will tell you, it was disgusting. But I loved it. That's The Cabin at the End of the World. And those are my favorite horror books, I think. I'm pretty sure those are them. 6 of my favorite at the very least. I hope that you have enjoyed Hygge Halloween week. I wanted to do something special for you guys, and special for Halloween. It's such a wonderful time of year. I hope that you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these. What is your favorite horror book? I'd love to know. And I'll talk with you soon. Bye, everyone.